This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
To watch the water go over the crop would have to be the hardest thing to watch, because with vegetables, once that water goes over the top of them, there's no coming out of it.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to Finding Hope, the podcast that finds the good in the midst of the bad. Each episode, we meet someone who's had a bit of a hard time but has found hope and healing along the way, and hopefully they inspire you to do the same. Episode 31, Trent Greentree. Trent Greentree is what they would call a true blue Aussie. He's a fifth-generation farmer from the Hawkesbury region in Sydney, Australia. He spends his days growing cauliflower and cucumbers for 3-3s, an Australian pickle company. Trent loves being a farmer. It's in his blood. But the last few years haven't been easy. Just weeks ago, Trent's farm was flooded for the third time in a year. The heartbreaking thing is, Trent's reality is just one of thousands facing farmers across our nation. And yet, Trent doesn't let it keep him down. His tenacity and resilience is some of the most infectious I've ever come across. Let's meet him. Trent Greentree, it is a pleasure having you on Finding Hope today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Now, firstly, Trent, I ask the first question for all my guests. How would you introduce yourself to a stranger? Who is Trent Greentree?
I'm a farmer in the Hawkesbury region. I grow cauliflowers and cucumbers for 3-3 sweet mustard pickle.
30 seconds in, and here I am, already interrupting. But when I heard Trent say this, I almost jumped out of my skin. 3-3's sweet mustard pickles are my favourite condiment of all time. If you haven't tried them and you're in Australia, head to your supermarket right now. They can go on anything. You will absolutely not regret it. Anyway, back to the episode.
I'm a fifth-generation farmer on the same bit of ground down there at Freeman's Reach, and hopefully one day my children will maybe take over from me one day, I hope. That's how much hope I have that, Australian produce has its part to play.
Did you always feel like farming was in your blood? Obviously, fifth generation. Did you feel like almost like your path was made for you as soon as you were born, or did you feel like you really had the choice of what you wanted to do?
I definitely had a choice of anything that I wanted to do. However, I really felt that it was just in my blood, and I'm sure you hear this from everyone, but it was in my blood, and I've kind of felt like it was the only thing that I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. And being family orientated, it's it's that heritage side of things to it that drew me towards it as well, and to be able to help mum and dad out and try to make life a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Tell me, Trent, what does a regular day on the farm look like for you?
So at the moment, it's basically swimming. But when on a good year, we on a normal day, say with cauliflowers, in terms of planting, we plant roughly 20,000 cauliflowers a week, and we will plant up to 100 to 150,000 seedlings. And they all get planted by hand on the back of a machine with two people in there putting them in. And so once they're planted, we'll obviously grow them out, and that should produce around 200 tonnes of product for 3-3s. But that's not the end of it. We actually have to process them as well. So we've been given the opportunity to actually pickle them on our farm as well. And dice them up into little cubes, and then they get taken down to 3-3s in a brine solution, and they can be stored down there for up to 12 months.
Wow. So you said that you plant by hand all of the cauliflower seedlings, and how many did you say you plant a week?
20,000 a week.
How does this work? Like, what is the rate of like, do you have to do like one every second? Like, what is the situation here?
I reckon it'd be about that. It feels like it. It's very monotonous. So the trays hold 198 seedlings in each tray, and we'll have 8 seedling trays on the planter. And each one has to be individually picked out and put into the cup that's rotating around. And so they literally have to be pulled out and put in by hand, each one of them.
Does it require a lot of focus now, or do you feel like your mind's wandering?
To be honest, I can probably do it with my eyes closed now. I've got this permanent clicking in my head from the cup going around so many times. It's just one of those monotonous jobs that you have to do.
Do you ever listen to music or podcasts or have a chat to yourself?
I always, I've got to listen to Hope FM.
Thank you. Thanks for the plug. I already like Trent. Not just for the free plugs, of course, but because he has this calm and matter-of-factness to his voice. It just doesn't quite make sense to me, because what he's been through would be enough to make anyone panic. Like you said, the farm's swimming at the moment, which is just heartbreaking. The 3rd time it's been flooded in just 12 months. Just weeks ago, 8 metres underwater, which is just unfathomable. As someone who's not a farmer, what does that mean for your livelihood, for your stock? Does everything have to be started again? What's the situation?
So basically, we'll keep an eye on the rising floodwaters, and if it gets to a certain point, which is around 4 or 5 metres for us, we will start moving all of our machinery, pulling out all of the equipment out of the sheds, moving everything up to higher ground, and it usually can take up to 2 full days with everyone moving gear out of the farm to get that done. And then probably to watch the water go over the crop would have to be the hardest thing to watch, because with vegetables, once that water goes over the top of them, there's no coming out of it.
How is your house? Did that get flooded or anything like that, or is it just the farm? On the farm, we have a 2-storey house there that our farm manager lives in, and the water was lapping the floorboards on the 2nd storey. We've got to get down there by boat. We've got to try and get all the office gear out of there as well, and it's a 2-storey office, but it got into it this time. So, yeah, the clean-up job, it's never-ending, to be honest with you. Yeah, because as soon as you clean it up, it's flooded again. Yeah, it's a nightmare at the moment. The mud just seems to keep on coming out of every crevice that it can kind of settle into. And, being a farm that processes food, we need to be clean and up to standards. So, and that's just the machinery side of things. We've got craters through the farm that are down to the irrigation mains, and they are about 6 feet deep. It's dangerous, and a lot of time, a lot of diesel, a lot of earth-moving gear, trying to basically cut our farm and reshape our farm to be able to fill in those holes and still drain water. It's a task and a half. So we can't plant our next crop. We also grow potatoes for kettle chips back in Australia. So we can't. It's the first time ever we haven't put in potatoes to grow since I can remember, because we cannot physically get the ground ready in time to plant, and we'll just lose our window. So 12 months gone. How are you staying financially viable, staying financially afloat throughout this time? So, us being in a lucky situation, I guess, in terms of we've been around a long time, and we've been through floods as well, being locals for so long. We diversified and started a little machinery business as well, a farm machinery business. And basically that's just keeping us afloat, the farm side of things, because there's no insurance. And for us, it can be bittersweet because we're not eligible for any government funding because we have that other business as well. And, for some reason we're not eligible for any grants at all either. Trent and his family have had to deal with this completely on their own, the stress of which would be enough to break anyone, but not Trent. How have you managed to stay resilient time and time again? I can't imagine that it's an easy task.
It's not an easy task, and every flood I feel it is chipping away at all of us. All of us being, all of us in the family and in the business. It's getting harder and harder with every crop we lose. Obviously, financially is the main reason, but just the work involved and to be able to pick yourself back up and wash everything down, work all the ground and reshape the ground and get another crop in. You've got to have a lot of drive there, and I feel that to be able to provide Australian-grown quality vegetables to an Australian company, I get a great deal of satisfaction out of doing it, and all of us do, and we want to keep on going, basically.
I was reading 68% of farmers in rural and regional areas have experienced anxiety and depression over the past 2 years, which doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't.
But how do you look after your mental health?
I have got a great family network around me, and it's that and as much of a cliche as it sounds, to be able to share food with someone, when my family come over for dinner, when I go over to someone's place for dinner, that kind of, you forget about everything. You talk about things, you get a strategic plan to, it gives you motivation, being a bit more organised, and you do that all over sharing food, and it's a great way to basically, keep your mental health intact.
And that's fantastic that you have such a great support system. I know that is not the case for a lot of, farming families, especially those who are out in the more rural, isolated areas.
Yeah.
What do you think can be done to better support farmers in these times, or on a more systemic kind of level?
I feel that contact between institutes and just ways of being able to contact someone, to be able to help someone, just reaching out for help. I feel that maybe, apps, anything to help diagnose, help get people in contact with GPs, just awareness basically of the problems that are out there. And every time one of these things happen and a farmer loses his crop, or anyone in any position loses something, it hurts. It takes its toll, and there needs to be some kind of help there, whether it be from government or from family, from someone. Just reach out.
Just reach out. The premise itself seems simple enough, but it's easy to forget in times of strife. Luckily, there are great initiatives to remind people to open up. Trent, tell me about our Plate for a Mate campaign, because this is a fantastic initiative raising money for the Black Dog Institute's community programs. What's it focused on this year?
The focus is on basically getting awareness out there for rural communities that are going through hardship, raising awareness of anxiety, depression, all mental health illnesses out there. And really focusing on those that need it most in those remote regional communities. And again, that whole idea of sharing a plate for a mate and talking and, just getting together and sharing over some food, it really does help. And they did it at the farm, and it was in the middle of absolute devastation, and everyone was, happy and talking and trying to help, and it was great.
You can get involved with Plate for a Mate as well. All you need to do, get some people together and share a meal. Use the hashtag Plate for a Mate on social media and remind people to get talking about their mental health. You just never know who it will help. Now, Trent, you are a proud Australian farmer producing Australian produce, and that is something that is very, very close to your heart. How can we, the Aussie public, better support farmers just like you, Australian produce, the work that you're doing?
Mainly, Australia could buy Australian-made products that have, Australian-made ingredients in it. So 3 obviously a 100-year-old Australian company, and they support farmers in South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, and they really do pride themselves on buying off Australian companies as well. So if Australia could just buy Australian, support Australian-made and Australian manufacturing, it will all help.
Trent, you have a bit more of inside knowledge than me, a city girl, about why there's so many product shortages at the moment. All I see, no lettuce on the shelves. But, it goes a bit deeper than that. Can you kind of explain what's happening behind the scenes? I know there's a lot of different things that go into a product shortage, but I'd love to hear kind of your take on it all.
At the moment, there's a lot of farmers still getting back up on their feet. And the ones that were lucky might have been, in higher ground or wherever, better situated. I really feel like prices will come back down again, but at the end of the day, the farmer still needs to get paid what it does cost to grow a product. And a lot more profit needs to go back to the farmer, I believe. I think that could help a lot. So the reason why I think there's a shortage at the moment is that it has been a lot of devastation. There's been unpredicted climate changes too. So we've had a really cold, mild season. So things haven't been growing as quick as they should have been. So basically, it will get better, but I still think that prices will stay up there, to be honest.
Not exactly the news I wanted to hear, but since speaking to Trent, lettuce prices have come down from $8 to $3 a head. There is definitely hope here. But Trent is right. More money needs to go back to the farmers if farming is going to be a sustainable industry here in Australia. But Trent and his family, they're not going anywhere. What is the most rewarding part of being a farmer for you?
I feel like it's that heritage of being able to show my children how to farm, how to work, how to do things, and give them a good work ethic early on, like I had. You could go to any job and your boss is going to teach you on-the-job training, but you can't teach that work ethic. It's really built into you from a young age. And I feel that farming is it's not a trendy job as it used to be, but I'm hoping things will change, and because I absolutely love doing it, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of planting a seed and watching it grow, just like my children.
Lastly, Trent, how have the last couple of years changed who you are as a person?
As a farmer, I feel like you only learn when you're broke, when you're going through hardship, when you're down and out, when you lose a crop, you diversify, you can really get creative on how to actually make money and save money. It's really changed me in that kind of aspect, but it's also taught me to be patient as well, because no matter what's happening and it's out of my hand, you've really got to just take a step back, be patient, take a good look at things and put things into perspective, because we're all still safe and alive. So, it's really taught me to be a lot more patient as a person.
I think that's advice that all of us can use, farmers or not. Trent Greentree, it has been such a pleasure having you on the Finding Hope podcast today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank thank you so much to Trent Greentree for sharing his incredible story, one that is all too familiar among so many farming families right now. For more information on Plate for a Mate campaign, head to the show notes or visit plateforamate.com. And the next time you go to the shops, pick up a jar of 3-3 sweet mustard pickles. You won't regret it. I'm Georgia, and thank you for listening to this episode of Finding Hope. I'd love to hear your feedback. You can send me an email, a review, or share it with your friends. Stories are always better when they're shared, and you never know what you can learn from someone else's journey. If you or someone you know has a story of hope to share, and you'd like to be interviewed for the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment on the Finding Hope page at hopepodcasts.com.au. For now, I'll leave you with this verse. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. Hebrews 10, verse 23. Catch you next time.
This is a Hope 1032 production. Thanks for listening.